Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tokyo Ghoul Re chapter 144. The anticipation for this chapter is through the roof. Everyone has been on the edge of their seat. With last week's chapter, we had this massive clusterfuck. There was a lot of backlash for that chapter, but this one, ladies and gentlemen, is what yous wanted. I understand we didn't get the Suzuya and Kaneki fight, but we are far beyond that at this point. We have gone above and beyond what anyone could have expected, and all the things that you wanted in that previous chapter, other than Suzuya and the Kaneki fight being shown, you get it in this chapter. And I think a lot of people are going to be thankful for one and just joyous that this chapter has gone in this direction. First things first, majority of this chapter is basically the past reflections of each individual personalities of Kaneki. And it's a really tripped out thing to see. The amount of Kanekis and personas that we get to see in this chapter, all talking with each other, is mind-boggling. But it's really well done. There's a fuck ton of dialogue, and they basically go through the stages of Kaneki, really, and what he's doing, and why didn't he win. It's kind of funny because everything that you guys were pissed about in the previous chapter is kind of like addressed in this chapter, kind of like another person's perspective, like the audience perspective, like why didn't Kaneki cannibalize, and why can't he regenerate, and like Ishida kind of plays that card, and it's actually really cool to see the fact that one Kaneki is talking to like multiple different personalities of Kaneki, like where he went wrong, and it just gives you a perspective of how much Kaneki has been through up to this point, which is really phenomenal. I'm glad that the structure of this chapter has been formatted like this. I'm glad Ishida went this route, and he kind of showcases each individual Kaneki personalities talking to one another and arguing with one another. They all kind of help Kaneki make his conclusion, because at this time, like the reason why this is happening, this in Kaneki's head situation, is because Kaneki got defeated by Suzuya and Hanbi. Now they basically cross out the fact that the reason why Suzuya and Hanbi won in the first place is, well, one, because Kaneki was severely weakened, he couldn't heal and everything along the sorts, but two, Hanbi basically done this suicide attack that Kaneki wasn't expecting, and he got destroyed from it. Basically, they drive Kaneki into this mindset that he has to fight to win. He has to go above and beyond what he is known for to win, to survive, to build this future, to save the loved ones, his child, and they all kind of build this up and force it into Kaneki, like, this is what you want to do, this is where it is. Kaneki kind of interprets it, kind of thinks about it, morphs it, and then he kind of boils it down to this structure, like Toka, and it just kind of boils off of Toka, which I guess you could say the savior of Kaneki right now, the one pulling Kaneki back to reality, the one making Kaneki fight for the future, for himself, for his ghouls, for his family, friends, everything, for everything that he's trying to do is because of Toka. She is kind of like the biggest push, the final push, if you will, to bring Kaneki back to that resolution, which is really cool to see. From this, we jump back to reality, and Kaneki's still in a fuck situation. I feel like this is the only place people will most likely have a complaint about, is the fact that he bites Hajime's face off, or Ko, and then obliterates him, devours him with his Kagane, basically, and then he devours all of the Ogai squad that chase after him. Kaneki has no legs, no arms, whatever, but he manages to devour Ko, and he manages to slaughter a bunch of Ogai squad members. I feel like that's the only thing people are gonna bitch about, like, oh, you can't beat Suzuya and Hanbi, but he can defeat all these other people, including Ko, without arms and legs. It's not really a big deal for me. It's no one really important. It's Ko. Actually, I thought Ko would have been a bigger deal, but he gets obliterated. Whatever. I'm not sure if he's dead, if anything. They kind of make it like Kaneki just ate him, but his whole body, or like just his face, like, I don't know the semantics of it really. So I'm excited to see. This is when everything changes once again. Everything you've known about Kaneki, everything you think you've known about Furuta, just all comes crumbling down once again. And people severely, to this point, still underestimate Furuta. My man is the genius. He has this plan. This thing has been there since the beginning. He's been trying to do this since the beginning. He's taken some very risky gambles to get to this point, but the goal, the outcome is still the same, at least from the looks of it. So at this point, Kaneki has cannibalized rapidly. He has ate a fuck ton of Ogai squad members. and he's chasing after Furuta. He's obviously trying to save Toka. Everything's going down. Furuta then reveals that he has won, and that his plan from the beginning, his plan was to injure Kaneki enough to push him to that limit of cannibalizing to this extent, to turn him into this monstrosity, to turn him into this dragon. I won't have the video up, but I mentioned this literally not so long ago, like 2 hours ago. I uploaded a spoiler video talking about that exact possibility. Be it may, it's already a theory out in the open like that, but you know, it's just weird timing, right? That spoiler video won't be there because I'm going to get rid of it because it's only been up for like an hour or two, so no point. And now that this video is here, but needless to say that Furuta has just planned this from the beginning. Kaneki is literally the dragon. You know, the Furuta mentions, you know, oh, my little dragon's finally here, I won. You know, he was basically trying to force Kaneki to feed to this massive extent. And the only way that he could theoretically do that is to obliterate Kaneki, is to put him to the point of no return, like no options. Like you're either gonna die or you're gonna feed and become a monster. And he does. He becomes the dragon that we've all been waiting for. This is confusing now because this changes the story once again. Like, how does Furuta know about this to begin with? When he talked about dragon, he mentioned like the Washu heritage. You know, in his Washu name, I'm gonna call it dragon. Has this been something he's been planning from the beginning? You know, like, is this like a process that he's been trying to do? Like, what is the point of bringing such a monstrosity to this series, to Kaneki? We still have a dire situation. Like, I made a video a couple days back talking about the future of Kaneki and potentially him being the villain of the story. And a lot of you guys were indifferent about it. That's perfectly fine. But the problem we have now is that if Kaneki can't come out of this monstrosity, this dragon, this form that in the final panel is cracking the ground apart and obliterating Tokyo above him, just destroying the city completely, who's gonna stop Kaneki? Kaneki's motive, his goal, you know, he wants to join the ghouls and the humans together, but if he obliterates half of Tokyo because of this dragon form, because Furuta has planned this completely, the CCG's obligation is going to go to Kaneki first, because he's the massive threat. Even though he's not trying to be, even though he may be stuck in this form, he may be lost in this form, Furuta has outplayed him once again. He has had this in his head since the beginning, right? He's pushed Kaneki to the only direction that he can go, cannibalizing to this extent, and now Kaneki is about to come above ground and destroy fucking half of Tokyo. Hide's gonna make his move. As much as Hide and a bunch of other CCG members know that Furuta is fucked up, he's bad, he's not part of the CCG anymore, they gotta stop Kaneki. And it still kind of tailors down to that direction of a story that I was talking about in that video, with Hide potentially defeating Kaneki or trying to kill him, and as much as Hide doesn't want to, as much as the CCG potentially don't want to hurt Kaneki to that point, maybe there's nothing he can do about it. That basically wraps up the whole chapter, but the series is not done. So let me just mention some stuff right now, some rather important stuff. First of all, Tokyo Ghoul Re so far is not ending, right? For all I know, it's not ending yet. Unless there's like an announcement, you know, there's some other stuff coming out, you know, some other announcements that's not related to the new anime. So I'll look out for that. And if it does get announced that Tokyo Ghoul Re is ending sometime soon, I'll definitely make a video on it. If you guys don't know, Tokyo Ghoul Re, the anime, has been announced for next year. Really excited for that. But so far, we are still in the midst of Tokyo Ghoul Re. We are still in the midst of a war. I really felt like, you know, a part 3 would have been prevalent, but seems like we're getting a chapter next week just by the ending of this week's chapter. It literally says the dragon appears next issue. So I'm very excited. This has changed the story once again, and it's exploded everything. You know, I think a lot of people are going to be really impressed with this chapter, and just like myself. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. But with that being said, I'm actually going to end the video off here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.